Hi, I'm Andrew Wheatley and I'm a mortgage broker. It's not a dirty word, it's something I'm really proud of. What I just wanted to, clarify here is the conversation that's going on out of the Royal Commission, to me, seems to stem from a fundamental misunderstanding of what commission actually is. And once people understand that, I think that helps you resolve this discussion pretty quickly. What a lot of people seem to think is that somehow the commission that banks are paying to brokers, if it was less or if it disappeared, that those savings the bank made, because now the bank's saving money, somehow get passed back to the consumers in cheaper rates or something like that. Now, just think about that for a second. That is how banks operate. When they offshored all their staff overseas, did they cut rates and cut fees? When they shut all branches down to save money, did they cut rates and cut down fees? No, they made a bigger profit and it passed on to their shareholders, which is their job as a business. Okay? They're also doing their job here with the Royal Commission by trying to convince everybody that cutting their costs is the best thing for end consumers. So what is commission actually? It's an acquisition cost by the bank to get new clients. Like any business, when you want to get people to come and do business with you, you can spend money on marketing and advertising, which banks do, and they get clients to come into their branch and do a deal with them directly. And there's a cost to get that client to come in, the marketing and advertising. Another way that banks get clients in is they have brokers find the clients, do all the work, package everything up, bring them in, and then they pay them a commission. Now, the word commission might be misleading. It's really just an acquisition cost that the bank is paying willingly because it's a cheap way for them to get clients in, often cheaper than marketing advertising. You take a mortgage broker, only gets paid if the bank makes money, if they've actually done a deal. If the loan gets moved away to another bank within the first 2 years, the broker has to give the money back. So it's a no loss for the bank. They can't lose on these deals. If the broker gets sick, if he gets injured, if he just isn't that good and can't find much business, they pay nothing, right? It's an absolute free hit. It's a business model for the bank, right? It's not an extra cost on top. It's a cost they pay instead of having to attract people in with expensive marketing and salaries to staff and branches. Okay? So when you look at it in that perspective, taking out the reducing commission for brokers, or the proposal is actually take it out altogether. What that proposal is saying that currently you have the choice to either deal directly with the bank or deal through a broker, and the bank covers the costs of you getting all that advice and process, and they either cover the costs through their direct costs with their business, or they cover the cost by paying the broker to do it. Either way, the bank's covering it, the client pays nothing. The new proposal that's being put forward is that the consumer, the person who wants the loan, is now going to have to pay either the bank or the broker in order to get basically the same thing. There's nothing extra they're going to get. So the cost has shifted from the bank to the consumer. And somehow this is being positioned as a great outcome for consumers. Now, the next flow-on effect from that, this is in my opinion, you can agree or disagree, is that the kind of levels they're talking about setting for this, well, one, most people aren't going to pay it, right? You should pay for good advice, but people struggle with that, right? So a lot of people just are going to forgo that, but you've got to pay it anyway. So you're going to pay it to the bank or pay it to a broker under this proposal. The other flow-on effect is the smaller banks, okay? They can't compete with the marketing budgets for the bigger banks. So you've got two ways to get business in. You do lots of marketing and advertising, saying, hey, we've got these great products, great rates, or you can pay someone else to do it for you, like a broker, who then brings the business in. Now, that is how those banks survive. And if you look, a lot of them offer the best deal. They have really, really great deals. I mean, a lot of them. But those banks are going to struggle to survive. So what's the end result? We're going to have less brokers, so you have less choice who to deal with. We're going to have less banks, so you have less competition happening. If we go back 20 or 30 years and look at what happened in that scenario, banks put the rates up, make a bigger profit. Why wouldn't they? Their job is to make a profit for their shareholders, not to produce any particular outcomes. They need to make as much money as possible. So look, I guess clearly I've got a vested interest in this, so it may come across that I'm trying to say I think this is a bad idea, but I've tried to just lay out the facts there too, so you can agree or disagree. I just want people to be discussing this in the right way with the right facts. And you don't even have to like brokers or want to use brokers to agree that having choice, is a good thing. And maybe you've had, a good or a bad broker, and they might have coloured your opinion. That happens. I've had some really dodgy doctors, but I know doctors aren't bad. I had my grandpa used to take me to a guy to cut my hair when I was a kid who's about 90 years old and used to cut my ear every time and make me bleed. But I still go to hairdressers because I was just one bad hairdresser, right? So, look, have a think about it. I hope this helps people just understand the real issues involved, and I'll wrap it up there. Okay, thanks.